Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to plunge into some fascinating source material and really surface with those key insights.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Today, we are journeying into the captivating world of Andrzej Sapkowski's Sword of Destiny. It's a collection of short stories, really digs deep into the life of Geralt of Rivia, the Witcher,
Yeah.
and our mission, our goal for this deep dive is to sort of unpack these intricate themes. You've got destiny, the nuanced nature of what we even call monsters,
Right. It's
and
complicated.
the relentless march of human expansion, which is a huge one, and of course the relationships, those profound connections that define Gerald's often pretty solitary journey.
And what's really striking, I think, is how these, fantastical stories, sorcerers, dragons, all that, they actually offer these surprisingly grounded reflections on, well, universal human problems.
Globally.
You'll see how these big questions like good versus evil, fate versus free will, even what it means to be human, they're all explored through the eyes of this professional monster hunter.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's unpack Giles himself, his world, the burdens he carries. I mean, his job, monster hunting.
Mm.
It's incredibly dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
And often completely thankless. What's a really stark example of that for you?
Well, you see it right away, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
The public's fear, their mistrust, sometimes just outright exploitation of witchers.
Yeah.
Take that encounter with the basilisk. Jill does the dirty work, kills the beast, and then the fat alderman immediately tries to cheat him.
Right, out of 200 lintars, which is a lot.
It is. And then you've got that spotty-faced man and the butcher.
Mm-hmm.
They're just hanging around, openly planning to steal Gerald's horse, his gear.
Just assuming he's dead down there.
Exactly. It tells you everything. They need witchers, sure, but they see them as, I don't know, disposable tools, easily discarded.
And that reality just slams home, doesn't it? When his companions arrive, those Zerrikanian warriors, Taya and Vey.
Oh, yeah. Talk about an entrance.
Pure drama. The spotty-faced guy, he barely knows what's happening, and then Veya's saber just hisses through the air.
And his head.
Flies up in an arc, lands right in the dungeon opening. It's brutal, swift.
Yeah.
But it's more than just shock value, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the story saying, right off the bat, look, justice in this world, it can be monstrous too. Forget easy ideas about good and evil. And it's such a contrast to Gerald himself, his whole mutated nature. He keeps saying the mutations deprived him of the ability to feel.
Right, he says he was stripped of feelings, but not utterly. Whoever did it made a botch of it.
Exactly. So there's this constant internal conflict for him, this struggle between that perceived lack of emotion and his actual humanity, which, we see all the time in what he does.
Yeah, it definitely shines through, despite everything he says. And even with all his skill facing these life-threatening dangers daily, he still runs into just casual prejudice everywhere.
Constantly.
Like the bathhouse attendant, refusing him a whore, even though he didn't even want one. He's just annoyed they're making an exception for him.
And the graffiti.
Yeah. Elves to the reservation, just scrawled on walls. Even that elf dean, the merchant, looks at him with this sort of curious contempt and superiority.
It's a world where being different just invites scorn, basically.
Yeah.
And Gerald's just another other.
So if Geralt, the guy who hunts actual monsters, gets treated like this, what does that say about, well, humanity's capacity for acceptance?
It suggests the real monsters might not always be the ones with claws and fangs, right? Sometimes it's the intolerance, the fear within human society itself.
Which leads us right into that more complex question, who, or maybe what, actually counts as a monster here? And the stories give you characters who just flip that whole idea on its head. Like the Golden Dragon, villain Tretton Mirth.
Borch 3 Jackdaws, as he calls himself.
Right. Travels with those imposing Zerrikanian bodyguards again, Taya and Veya. The tattoos, the sabers, those intimidating smiles.
And the big reveal. It's fantastic. That villain Trettenberth is the Golden Dragon.
Yeah.
And he's not terrorizing anyone. He's protecting a she-dragon, Murgtabrak, and her little one.
It completely turns the monster trope upside down. Makes you question if a creature's appearance actually matches its nature.
Definitely. And it sparks this really interesting philosophical debate about monster hunting itself.
Yeah, you've got Doragray, the sorcerer.
Right, with his druidic theories about, natural equilibrium. Killing creatures upsets the balance, he says.
But then Yennefer steps in. Always pragmatic.
Always. She argues dragons have to be exterminated. Why? Because they threaten fortified towns.
Which gets in the way of human fecundity and domination, as she puts it.
It's that classic clash, isn't it? Nature's balance versus human progress. or what humans call progress.
And Dorgray's reply is just perfect. He's disgusted.
He basically says filth and lice are a bigger threat to cities than dragons.
And then tells Yennefer, kind of ironically, maybe she should focus on bearing children.
Oof. Yeah. It just lays bare that conflict, naturalism versus expansionism, humanity prioritizing its own growth, even if it means wiping out other life.
Then there's the Doppler. Teleco Lungravink Latorte. Doo-doo, yeah. His story is, well, it's comical, but also really insightful.
That scene where he's perfectly imitating the halfling merchant, Beatty Biberfeld.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Total chaos.
Okay.
And then Minister Chappelle, who, plot twist, is also a Doppler, impersonating the real one.
Right.
He makes this observation. He says, Dopplers only know how to copy what is good in us because you don't understand the bad in us.
Wow. That hits hard, doesn't it? It just profoundly challenges any simple idea of what a monster is.
Yeah.
If the quote-unquote monster can only copy human goodness, then the real danger, the real darkness, it lies in humans themselves.
It implies our capacity for evil is, like, uniquely human, something even a perfect mimic can't replicate.
Makes you really rethink who the actual monsters are.
Seriously. And as if that wasn't enough, Doo-doo, the shapeshifter, he comes up with this brilliant, profitable scheme.
Oh, the eternal firelights.
Yes. He takes cod liver oil and wax, turns them into these vigil lights for the priests.
Calling it a sacred cause. Because, hey, the priests needed lights for their altars.
It's such a cynical, brilliant take on how something seemingly sacred can just be rooted in earthly profit, in deceit.
A stark reminder, maybe, that even holy crusades can be driven by pretty basic motives, like greed.
So beyond all the monsters and philosophy, Sword of Destiny also really gets into Geralt's personal life, his relationships, which, despite his claims about having no emotions, they really define him.
They absolutely do. His bond with Yennefer, for example, it's tumultuous.
That's putting it mildly. Definitely on again, off again.
Yeah.
She even circulates between us like a rag ball, he says, thinking about Istred as a rival.
Yeah, it shows how messy and complicated, but also how powerful their connection is.
And Yennefer herself. She's described so vividly. Raven black curls, those violet eyes.
Piercing violet eyes, and that exquisitely too long nose. There's this contrast, isn't there, between her beauty and her often sharp, prickly demeanor. It kind of symbolizes their whole relationship. Complex, often painful. And her belief that Gerald's emotions were stripped away. That's a constant source of tension. He's always testing him, pushing at his supposed appetite.
And their intimacy is, well, unique is one word for it.
Yeah.
Geralt mentions her collection, including a stuffed unicorn.
On whose back she liked to make love.
And Gerald's dry comment is just perfect. If there existed a place less suitable for having sex, it was probably only the back of a live unicorn.
Classic Gerald.
But beneath the weirdness, there's real emotion there, isn't there? You feel his pain when she just coldly says, "There's nothing between us now."
Oh, absolutely. It's a raw moment. It cuts right through that stoic Witcher facade.
And what's fascinating, like you said, is despite him always claiming to be emotionless, these relationships just reveal how much he can feel connection, pain, love even. His actions constantly contradict how he sees himself.
His humanity is definitely there. Maybe buried deep sometimes, but it's there.
Then you have Essie Devon, Little Eye.
Yes, see. The poet.
With her cornflower blue eyes and willow green hair, she offers him something different, doesn't she? A warmer, more open kind of affection.
Yeah, and she's fiercely loyal to him. Remember when she defends him against Duke Agloville?
Oh, right. Proclaiming Geralt is superior and worthier than the Duke. It's quite touching. Shows the impact he has on people, even unintentionally.
But that relationship is also quite bittersweet, isn't it? Because it's mostly unrequited from Geralt's side.
Yeah.
Dandelion, in his usual blunt way, even calls Geralt out on his stupidity in how he handles Essie's feelings.
Right.
It highlights Geralt's inability, maybe his unwillingness, to fully engage with those kinds of conventional emotional bonds. Maybe it's a consequence of his job, his mutations, how he sees himself.
And we can't talk about Geralt's relationships without mentioning Dandelion.
Of course not. His loyal companion.
The chronicler of his adventures, the comic relief.
Definitely the comic relief. Flamboyant, always gossiping.
Especially about Geralt's love life.
Oh, yeah. But despite all that, their friendship endures. It's this constant thing in a pretty chaotic world. It's actually quite heartwarming.
These deep personal ties also weave into that other huge theme, destiny. That relentless grasp of fate.
Especially the law of surprise.
Exactly. That old custom where a savior can demand that which you find at home yet do not expect. and it creates this unbreakable bond.
Which, in this case, links Geralt inextricably to Ciri.
Right. We see Ciri first when she escapes into Brolkilon, the Dryad's forest. She's just a kid, stubborn but also really endearing, always sniffing.
And that occasional little devil face. Her time with the Dryads and their queen is crucial.
Lady Aithne, Queen of Brolkilon, she's formidable, molten silver hair and eyes.
And she has this unwavering belief in destiny. Especially for Ciri, the child of elder blood.
That lineage with immense, unpredictable magic.
Yeah. Aithne sees Ciri's fate as just set.
Yeah.
Immutable. Something beyond human control or choice.
There's that really poignant scene with the water of Brolkilon, too.
Yeah.
Ciri seems to drink it, which should bind her to the forest forever. But then she returns to Geralt. She chooses.
And Geralt thanks Aithne, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
For playing the role of destiny.
Yeah. It's like saying, okay, maybe destiny's real, but there's still choice involved somehow. A kind of dance between fate and free will.
It really broadens the whole destiny discussion. That inherent tension. Are things predetermined, or do we have agency?
And Mousekh, the druid, he really pushes the fate side. He tells Geralt, basically, what you wanted and what you planned to do ceased to matter the moment Ciri was born.
Which is a direct challenge to Geralt, because Geralt initially tries to reject her, right? He declares, I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
It forces you, the reader, to wonder, are we free agents? Or just, pieces being moved around on some cosmic board?
And the theme gets intensely personal later on with Vizenna.
The healer.
The healer who tends Geralt's wound when he's near death, and then the reveal, she's his mother.
Huge moment. And her belief in destiny is so strong, contrasting sharply with Geralt's struggle.
He can't even really acknowledge their bond, can he? Especially in the daylight. He's afraid of the mutual hurt.
It's powerful. It asks if some destinies, some truths, are just too painful to face head-on.
And connecting all this back to the wider world, the fall of Cintra.
Oh, yeah. Tragic. Queen Calanthe's last stand. The city destroyed by Nilfgaard.
That powerful southern empire.
All these huge catastrophic events, they ultimately push everything towards Ciri's fate. And Geralt's eventual destined reunion with her. Through Yerga, the merchant he saved.
It really feels like destiny can be both a guide and just this brutal, unavoidable current, sweeping away individuals, even whole kingdoms.
Powerful stuff.
And these big currents of destiny shaping lives, they kind of mirror another big current shaping the world. Humanity's relentless expansion, its impact on everything, everyone in its path.
You see it so clearly in the rising prejudice against non-humans.
That graffiti again, elves to the reservation, chilling. And the way that elf merchant looks down on Geralt.
Yeah, it paints a stark picture, doesn't it? A world cracking apart under human dominance.
And it raises that question, how does this drive for human dominion affect everyone else? Other intelligent races? The environment?
It suggests that humanity's pursuit of its own interests often just comes at the direct expense of others. It really blurs the line between progress and, well, destruction.
You see that conflict perfectly with Duke Aglavul, his determination to exploit the sea.
Even if it means war with an intelligent race of sea folk, Geralt warns him, but
he doesn't care. Aglavul's declaration is just, wow. Life is a battle, and we were taught that struggle by these witchers.
It is we, not your ballads, who create the chronicles of humanity, and we no longer need witchers, and now nothing will stop us. Nothing.
It's not just a line of dialogue, is it? It feels like a manifesto for unchecked human expansion.
Absolutely. It perfectly captures that often destructive drive for dominance, that chilling justification for conflict, for exploitation. It's a dangerous arrogance, this belief that humans are the sole arbiters of the world's future.
And remember, the eternal fire in Novigrad, we found out earlier it was just a merchant scheme.
Right. Literally fueled by cod liver oil and wax.
It shows how these so-called sacred causes can just be based on deceit. On greed, twisting belief for profit.
Makes you wonder how many grand human projects are built on foundations just that shaky, that deceptive.
And the tragic consequences of all this expansion, they hit home with the Nilfgaardian War. Dandelion describes it so vividly.
Oh yeah. Fields of corpses, a war of destruction, scaffolds and stakes stretch for miles. He's just despairing.
He says, our world will never be what it was, which contrasts so much with Geralt's more, I guess, pragmatic view of conflict, almost resigned.
It's a really sobering look at the true cost of that human ambition, the real price of progress.
And that detail about Sorcerer's Peak, the Mountain of the 14.
And poignant.
Where wildflowers are left at the obelisk with the names of the sorcerers who died in the war. Tris Marigold, Coral, Corazed.
It's this quiet memorial to immense loss, right in the path of that relentless human tide. A reminder that even great power, great magic, isn't always enough against the brutality of human conflict.
Wow, okay. So this deep dive into Sword of Destiny, it really pulls you into this incredibly rich fantasy world, but at the same time, it makes you think deeply.
Yeah, it challenges your perceptions, makes you look closer at our own world, maybe.
We've seen how it explores destiny, its embrace, its burdens, how the line between monster and human gets incredibly blurry.
And that unstoppable, often destructive tide of human ambition. It really leaves you thinking about the gray areas, morality, the forces that actually shape our lives.
So the final question, maybe, what does it truly mean to be well-informed in a world like that? Where legends and brutal reality are all tangled up, where every choice, even a small one, might just ripple through the currents of fate.
Perhaps the real deep dive isn't just into the book, but into our own understanding. Confronting the monsters within us and around us, armed not with a sword, obviously, but with critical thought, a willingness to question everything you thought you knew.